your job to effectively treat it is try to determine what is the root of these vasomotor symptoms. We have to determine why that fire is not rooted in the Mingmen like it's supposed to be. So we either have some blockage in our yang conformations, not allowing the fire to root, or we have a storage problem in our yin conformations where there's a lack of absorption and containment and we have fire flaring. And you can see many variations on this. This is a really basic diagram of much of what Sharon treats when she teaches, when she talks about her circle of how the organs and the conformations are related to each other. But essentially, as we understand it, we know that the imperial fire, which resides in the heart, needs to be rooted in the body. Fire has a nature of rising. So it follows the path down to the kidneys through the Shaoyin via the Yang Ming. If the Yang Ming is able to take that physiological fire and root it, then there's no problem. But if it's unable to root that fire, then that blockage in the Yang Ming can create a lot of the vasomotor symptoms that we see, like the hot flashes and the night sweats and the dryness. Additionally, you're supposed to have a pivot mechanism which allows these yang conformations to transition into the yin. The Shaoyang is that pivot mechanism which allows that fire to root into the Mingmen. And if the pivot is somehow blocked and you can't root that fire, then it's going to flare back up. So again, you see a lot of those vasomotor symptoms that are so classic to our pattern. So if the yang is blocked, either because the physiological fire can't go down through the Yang Ming or it can't transition through the pivot of the Shaoyang, then we're going to have fire rising and symptomology. So here's a couple of examples of what that might look like. I was trying to find actual cases for all of these presentations, and this one I struggled a little bit with, but I gave you a general picture of what I would treat if I did see this. So this is sort of the classic 4 bigs pattern when you see Yang Ming block, where you have someone who is hot. They are hot all the time. They dislike being around heat. They like open windows. They have hot flashes a lot all the time, in varying frequency. They're sweating a lot. They're thirsty. They're dry. Perhaps their bowels are moving sluggishly or they're fully constipated. Generally, this is a more robust kind of patient, right? They have some sort of block. So your job is to kind of open up and remove that block. And there might be variations of Bai Hu Tang. A lot of times I'm doing with Jia Ren Shen because there's deficiencies underneath that, dryness, etc. Or you could even do the Cheng Qi Tongs if it was a more severe presentation, but that's sort of a purely excess kind of baseline where you would be thinking of that formula grouping.